Welcome to Reality NSFW. I am Lauren Pratt, and with me is my great co-host, Alex Trias. We are here to break down episode number 5 of The Challenge, and I have to say, it definitely delivered another great episode, awesome moments, drama, as always, and one of my favorite players, Ashley Mitchell, makes a return back onto the season. Alex, how you feeling?
Dollar bills, y'all. Millionaire Mitchell, she gets another chance. I'm living for it. But this, all respect to her, this episode is about hailing to the new queen of the challenge, and her name is Big T.
Big T, one of the best people that they have brought on as a newbie. She is amazing. She's a bright, shining light. And I have to say, anything she does is absolutely hysterical. Pure class all the way.
Yeah, and she gets to have her power trip too. And even when she's on her power trip, it's just like, for me, I'm like, oh my God, this is just adorable watching.
I agree. Sometimes you see people when they get in power, they can be very annoying, but she was not annoying at all. Everyone was feeding into everything she was doing. And I have to say, she was playing very strategically. She knew what she was doing, and she definitely got what she wanted in the end.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll be talking more about that. But you know who did annoy people? Fessy. Fessy annoyed a lot of people last episode. And they come back into the house, and it's this awkward silence. Corey's trying to vent in the weight room, and everyone's just watching him. Just watching him, waiting for Fessy to come in.
Fessy, he sunk his ship ultimately because he definitely had some allies, and I get it. You want to go in, get your skull, and get that win, but he could have done it in a different way. And Corey basically came in there and said, I lost 2 friends tonight because he lost Nelson due to elimination, and Fessy betrayed Corey.
So here's where the issue is with Fessy. If you're going to make a story, make it one that makes sense. Because his philosophy that he was trying to sell was, I knew either way I was losing a friend that night. But what he wasn't saying was, well, in that case, I might as well throw myself in there and take the friend out myself. Because he was going off to Corey saying, I knew either Josh was getting in, and that would mean Josh or Nelson was going out, without him realizing by him saying that. And then with the aftermath of him actually going in, he's telling Corey, I would rather lose Nelson than lose Josh. I don't care about you and Nelson's relationship.
Yep, and the thing about that too is, honestly, he also acted like Josh didn't want to go in. He said, I didn't know really Josh was wanting to even go into that elimination. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Fessy has no recollection clearly of that conversation him and Josh had in the hot tub. And honestly, I think Fessy, for future seasons beyond this one, he's not going to have that many allies.
I'm gonna pause there for a little bit, just because you never know with this show. People can be enemies one season, and a season or two later they realize we need each other, and they group up despite what has happened in the past. We've seen it happen with someone who's going to be we've seen it with Ashley, who returns. Like, every season, she ends up finding ways where, if all of her alliance members are out, she finds a way to make a friend with who was an enemy. And then they're tight. So it's always possible.
I'll give you that, but here's the difference. You're comparing Ashley with Fessy. Ashley is way more strategic, so much smarter, and Fessy just does not know how to play that type of game.
Yeah, he's creating a tough road for him, but, if he wants to force his way into being a villain and a constant presence on the show because of that move, power to him. He's looking to the future with that, then all hats to him, but he's going to create a little bit of a challenge for him this season. But that's not the only people arguing. Tori then comes in and sort of argues with Josh, saying, I thought I was protecting you, when we sort of know that she admitted that it was a spur of a moment thing Fessy asked, and then she was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Has Tori done anything right this season?
No, not really. Like
I
I
gotta
don't know.
say,
It's weird because I don't want to like knock her too much. Like she had a bad episode, and the edit sort of makes it come across like she was on a power trip when I think she was trying to learn her lessons from the past. Where the first season with the skulls, she comes in going, "I just want to go in, get my skull. I don't care who it's against." And she goes up against a stronger competitor in Jenna, even though she thought Jenna was checked out. Jenna still competed and Jenna won. They come here and she's like, okay, if I do want to get a skull early, I need to correct that mistake. I need to make sure that the person I'm going to go up against is someone who I think I can beat in any elimination style that we have. So I think that's why she kept saying the little people, the small people. But the thing is, you need to have more credentials to, I feel, to speak the way that she was. Like, I think Anissa can speak that way because she has the pedigree and the background of all these years of, she has the most elimination wins for women. She's been in the most eliminations of any woman who's been in the game. So when she's talking in the deliberation later, I'm like, she deserves that. She has she has more than anyone else in that room to speak on elimination. Tori doesn't, in my opinion.
oh no, I completely understand that. I mean, Tori has not won a season. So she can't really sit there and say that she's going to go on this huge power trip. Here's her biggest issue. She is not good about being subtle about it. She's too open about wanting to target the weak people, where these rookies, there's so many of them. Unlike other seasons, there might only be a few rookies. But in this season in particular, there are tons of them. You cannot openly state that you think this person, and this person is weak, because how are they going to react to that? Not well. And it's a voting game. You're voting individual people into elimination, and people don't have to vote the way their partners vote either. So you have to factor that in as well. And I just think Tori's game strategically this time around was not a good one.
Yeah, and I think this is something that she can learn from and move forward with. But with that being said, that does go to the next scene where you have the little people, the rookie girls and Big T sort of talking about how Tori and Anissa have been talking about them, or how they feel they're perceived by Tori and Anissa. And Big T sort of being like, you know what? I like these girls better. I don't like how they're not giving us a real chance. They just look at us and think we're the weak people. So I would like to be able to get into a power position. She talks with CT about trying to make that shot, and CT's just so proud of his partner trying to make a move. It's like, I love that pairing of them.
They're my all-time favorite partnership that I have ever seen. I would love to see them together on a future season, but their partnership is truly making great television, because you can just genuinely tell that they want to be with each other, and it's just so fun. And that's what you want in some episodes. They bring the fun energy, also the great commentary, the great comments to each other. But I do have to say, are we purposely skipping over how Josh jumped in at the beginning and started to create arguments with others? Because we definitely skipped that portion. I'm fine with it, because we've talked about Josh enough and him always wanting to get involved in starting controversy.
Yeah, like what I will say on that before we move forward is, you can clearly tell Josh is just trying to make a storyline of this. Like, he wants the people at home to perceive him as, oh, I was ready to go in. Didn't you see me? I was like going crazy because you weren't picking me to go in. You knew I wanted something physical. But we also know from Devin and Tori through their the aftermath show that they do that he was pretty much saying it was all TV, and he was begging them not to put him in. Because Josh wants longevity. He doesn't need the skull now. He's thinking, keep me on the show as long as possible so then I can have the most time to make something of it. Which, that's something you have to think about when you're a contestant too. Like, if you don't think you have the ability to win, I don't know what his headspace is on that. You want to be in there for as long as possible, and not going to elimination ensures that. It risks you not getting to the end, but it gives you plenty of time to be there.
I get it. You have to do what you have to do to get screen time at the end of the day. Because if you're not on our screen, you're probably not getting asked back for a future season. But when it comes to Josh, he does the same thing over and over again. And it's getting really tiring to watch it because he just finds a way to integrate himself into a conversation. Yes, he was relevant somewhat to that, but if he could just sit and chill for a moment, I think he would become more likable.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know everything that's happening. Like we see a few minutes here and there of arguments, but there's so much downtime in the show that that isn't TV that you don't hear a lot of people after the fact outside of making jokes about Josh really saying anything truly negative about him. And we hear it from Jonny when he talks about his relationship with Josh outside the show. He has a very good personality. He's charismatic. He is very personable in that sense. So it's the Josh that we're not seeing on TV that I think gets him well insulated. Plus, a lot of people think he's an easy person to beat in an elimination.
Right. And I realize there's always an edit with every single season. And the fact that you brought up how Jonny says that he's met Josh outside of the challenge, outside of Big Brother, and has gotten to know him as a person and genuinely likes him, then we're obviously missing something there. But as you know, going on a reality television show sometimes brings out the worst of you. It's a stressful environment. And I think sometimes Josh is not able to handle the stress, especially when you involve alcohol with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say on that. The clip back to the Big TCT conversation. Big T's first true power move since she's been on the show. And she wants to put two friends against each other, Tori and Anissa. I have more to say about that friendship when we get to the later portion of the show because I find it very fascinating on Anissa's part. And it's a kudos to her for her social game. But you then see CT go to the guys. So he's talking to Kyle and Devin about this move. And they're both sort of down with it. And you have Devin really utilizing what Double H's is all about, going, I partnered with Tori because I wanted her as my enemy close. If we put someone in that can beat her, I ain't going to stop it. It'll make me a rogue agent. I get safe for the next guy's elimination. No one can pick me. It's a good move on his part to, I think, constantly just pair himself up with someone who he feels will be put into an elimination.
Devin just showcased how he does not give two shits about Tori, even though in the last episode, to her face, he goes, I'm going to find a way to get you your skull. I promise I'll get you your skull later on.
Well, technically, he gave her the opportunity.
I know, but that's not the type of opportunity she wanted. And the way he was making it sound was he's going to help her in the future. This situation, essentially, he's fine with screwing her over because he does not care about Tori. And I find it absolutely hysterical because Devin's not someone that's just going to chill with someone whether he likes them or not.
Well, that's why you don't make wishes on the monkey's paw. When you make a wish on the monkey's paw, you get the wish, but not how you want it. And that's what happens with Tori tonight. But it's mission time. And this is actually a sad part for me. We find out that Natalie is not cleared to compete anymore. She has to leave. And I agree with her when in her outro where she goes, I don't think anyone else was going to try to step to me. And I could have gotten to that final. And you know what? I probably have a great chance to win if I get there. And I agree with her. There's what else is there to say there? Who wants to go against her?
Right. Natalie's such a strong competitor. And I have never seen TJ be that open about saying, we'll basically see you in the future. Yeah. Because he normally says, I hope to see you in the future. With this one, he essentially is like, whenever you went back on the season, just let us know and you're coming back.
I think it sort of makes more sense now why, after the pairing with Wes, she really didn't get that much screen time anymore because she is good TV and she gives good confessionals. In my opinion, that's how I see it. But what we find out while the show's airing, an article gets published. The reason why Natalie was removed from the game was medical in the sense that they found out that she was actually pregnant. So it sort of goes with what happened last season where Mel was pregnant to no one's knowledge, and they let Mel compete all the way through. So what appears to have happened was, while on a call with her sister, Natalie made a joking remark about how she missed her period and maybe she was pregnant too, and both her and her sister would be having babies at the same time. So production got right away, made her take a pregnancy test, and that's why she was escorted out of the game. And I do want to give my condolences to her and her boyfriend. Shortly after she was sent home, the baby was miscarried, and it's just horrible to think about.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there. It's just terrible knowing that you're going to have a child and then just losing your child. So I absolutely give my condolences as well to Natalie, and I hope to see her on a future season. And I know we're going to see her on a future season. So I'll just say, I think she's going to be someone that people are going to be scared of.
Yeah, I think she left a mark. And I just hope for her and her family and her loved ones that they're all healthy and moving forward, both physically and mentally. But with that, we will move on. So TJ is not pleased that we're losing all these women, not through the crater. So there was an infiltration and someone was being brought back. Who was that someone, Lauren, as if we didn't mention her?
I know. Well, I mentioned her at the top of the show, but one of my favorites, Ashley, comes out, looks super excited, and is basically like, I'm back, bitches.
And she gets her old partner from, I think it was like Rivals 3 in Corey.
Yeah, they were rivals, partners with each other. And it's just interesting to see how you end up with someone again, because obviously they pretty much have essentially squashed most of their beef from when they were rivals with each other, and it's so fun to see many years later them end up together again.
Yep, and Corey still has the same concerns that he had back then. Which Ashley is he going to get? You get all of Ashley. That's my answer to you. You get her all the good and a little bit of the bad, because I think she's way more good than bad.
You get her on her best days and you get her on her worst days, but
who doesn't have bad days?
What?
Who doesn't have bad days?
No, everyone has bad days, but sometimes Ashley's very good at showcasing when she's in a good mood and when she's in a bad mood, which is why I love her so much.
Yeah, but I'm happy to see her back. I think it makes the most sense from a production standpoint of they probably hadn't sent her home yet at that point, so she was probably still in quarantine. You don't really have you can't really have alternatives at that point because you're a couple weeks in. So if you did have an alternative, they were probably sent back already. So if you needed someone, it had to be someone who already competed. It makes the most sense. And I think she only brings good to the show. So with that, it's mission time. And we got a giant cliff. I was first thinking, oh, it's definitely trivia. Because you always throw someone off of a cliff when it's trivia. But no, it's called Agent Down. And how it worked was apparently all the females had to be hanging on the ledge. And
I think they could have picked, but you're gonna pick the female.
I think, yeah, it makes sense. I just thought it was funny. So one partner was balancing on the ledge with a little platform underneath their feet, and your partner at the same time is pulling 200 meters of rope, and they have to pull it fast and get to their partner, because at a moment in time, TJ's going to press a button that drops the platform underneath the partner, which would cause them to fall unless they're holding on to their partner. From there, it's just a matter of who holds their partner the longest. But everyone must fall at some point.
Yes, everyone must fall at some point. Now, before the challenge even started, who did you think were going to be the top contenders?
So I fought CT and Big T. I actually fought the two people that ended up being in the position. Big T, and just because she's so tiny compared to CT, I felt CT, as long as he got the rope out in time, would be able to hold her no issue. Jay, they talked about it last season, just his grip strength from what his background is as a rock climber and everything. I thought Teresa's not heavy. that heavy in proportion to what his grip strength probably is. So I thought them and Nam would be like the front runners. So I was pretty spot on.
Right, yeah, you were pretty spot on. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. If you have a smaller girl that you have to hold up, it's going to be a lot easier in the long run.
Yep. And like I'm going to sort of fast forward for this, but before we get to the placements in the challenge, I just wanted to give Darrell a shout out. He doesn't get much, but he introduced us to Height Shock. Look it up; it's a thing.
Yeah, we saw Darrell, and anytime I can see him on the screen, I'm happy about it. But yeah, I liked this. I liked this mission. I thought it was good. It showcased a lot of people's strengths, but I will say the men definitely had to do most of the work, unless the platform dropped and the girl had to hold themselves up for a little bit. But we just don't know the timing on all of that. So it all came down to, could your guy hold you up as long as they could?
Yeah, but it's also mutual. You need to make it, if you're the person on the ledge, you need to make it as easy as possible for your partner to hold you. So it's all about how you grip each other, because you need to grip it in a way where when they're holding you, they're not struggling, especially with their back, because they're in a crouch. So your legs are going to be numb, but you need to have a strong back and strong triceps. And then obviously grip strength. Grip strength is the most important thing, because if you saw it with Fessy. Fessy is probably the strongest guy there, but just because you push weights doesn't mean you have the best grip. And if you have big hands, sometimes those hands get slippery fast.
No, absolutely, you're right. It all comes down to positioning and how you're able to work well with your partner, because we just saw the communication. They're talking with each other. They're saying, lift me up a little bit more. I'm losing grip here. You have to have good rapport. If you don't have good rapport with your partner, A, they're probably going to just drop you because they're over it. Or B, it's just the grip position is not going to be the strongest that it could possibly be.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of people that I thought would be the right thing is the cross grip. Like if you're just holding here, there's no leverage. As long as if you cross grip, you're at least leveraging off of your forearms as well, which gives you something to weigh against. That's why a lot of people who deadlift, they do alternating hands. You don't do it the same way. But tier one, or the first groups, we had Jay and Teresa, Devin and Tori, Leroy and Anissa, Leo and Gabby, Amber B and Darrell, and Nam and Lolo. Everyone's sort of pulling it. Everyone's impressed that Jay pulls the rope out first. He gets there, then Leroy, then Nam. Devin's very clearly not trying, but Tori in her confessional goes, I just don't think he has the stamina for it.
I didn't understand that.
Casually pulling it up. So, and Darrell gets there just in time, but first people to drop are Tori and Anissa. So far, everything going to plan for Big T.
Yeah, so far everything's going to plan, and I cannot believe Tori did not look into that more. Devin clearly was just coasting. You could tell that he was not trying at all. And I found it interesting that people thought Jay was able to pull it up so fast, because I wasn't surprised. That's Jay's strength.
Like, I don't think there's a big thing about, he was able to pull the rope the fastest. Like, there's not a skill to it. It's all about knowing, having the appropriate rhythm. Like you hear about when Cam talking about Kyle just has a really good pace and rhythm to it. It's all about once you get that groove going, that's when things go quick. If you're just trying to muscle it, you're going to just fatigue yourself. It's all about letting the rope do all the work. And then your hands are just guiding it.
Now, in terms of strategy, because obviously you know that they can keep themselves on the ledge for a little bit, do you think you should not take your time as much as some of the guys chose to do so, but in order to make sure you don't have to use as much strength holding them up, I'd let them stay on the ledge as long as they possibly could until you knew TJ was going to let the ledge drop?
I would get it done as fast as I could, but maybe not hold them right away.
Yeah, but we saw that they held them right away.
Or I would take that time to get down into a position that I know I'll be comfortable in and plan out, okay, this is how we're going to hold. And you're just going to have to deal with this as long as I am able to deal with it.
Did we see any teams that let their female partner stand on the ledge as long as they possibly could before getting in position correctly? Because I don't know if we did.
The thing is, I think only ones were people who just finished the rope in time, but I it's hard to tell with how they were moving with the camera shots, and you don't know the true pace of this challenge. You only see what's being edited. But final two for this group was Nam and Jay. Nam's such a good guy. He loses while Lolo's being furious at him for losing. And you just go to confessional and Nam going, I like Jay. I want him to go do well too. So a loss to him's okay.
I just love how they were all scared about falling, but they were going to fall regardless. So you just had to know it was coming.
Well, I'm going to get to that because apparently one of them did not know this. And but Jay's holding Teresa for dear life while Teresa's like, I know where you sleep. I will kill you if you drop me, which is the most words we've heard Teresa speak this entire show so far. But it was great.
It was great. I was happy to see a little bit of screen time from Teresa, but we just really don't know her storyline. She hasn't been showcased that much this season.
Well, it looks like we're about to get a storyline in future episodes, but we get into tier 2. This one's going to go a little faster. It was Big T, CT, Josh and Nani, Fessy and Casey, Kyle and Cam, Michi and Amber M, Ashley and Corey. I'm going to fast forward the hell out of this. Big T and CT, and somehow Josh and Nani were the last two. Josh tries to negotiate with CT, and as he's negotiating, Nani slips through his hands.
Yeah, there's no negotiating when it comes down to that. And Josh should know better. You have to concentrate. If you don't concentrate, then that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but I just love CD going, Big T's doing such a good job. She's smiling at me. And that's everything's going on through there. Lauren had to step out, so I'm going to keep going. So what happens is originally CT had told Big T that at some point, once he knew that they won, he was going to pull Big T up. But that was against the rules. So eventually he had to drop her. But he's cheering her on, saying how great of a job she did. Give me that mean face. And I don't think Big T, just like how she can't create a fist, she also doesn't know how to make a mean face because she was sort of just smiling while also terrified.
That was the funniest thing ever. Her mean face is the farthest thing from a mean face, but it's hysterical, and I could not stop laughing every time CT would ask for it because I thought he was only going to ask about it once, and he asked about it at least 3 times, and I was there for it.
Yep. So it was down to Jay and Teresa or CT and Big T. Your double agents and winners were CT and Big T, and Big T ain't no layup.
Big T is not a layup. However, I'm going to give her credit. She definitely did win, but CT did most of the legwork. But when I said it comes down to communication and your relationship with your partner, they were the strongest too. And I am so stoked that they won because we got to see all of Big T's VIP, getting to talk with everyone, and she just lit it up.
Well, we'll be getting more into that. But before we do, let's hear a word from some of our sponsors.
Winter's here and it's crazy cold outside. But what you don't know is you should still drink more water. By the time you feel thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. You can't focus and you feel tired.
Drinking enough water is critical for a healthy lifestyle that you're trying to maintain. It increases your brain power, boosts your productivity. It can prevent headaches and it'll increase your focus. Not only that, it improves your skin and mood, and it can help with your digestion and give you energy. Wow, it also prevents bad breath and can help you lose weight. But how much water should you drink each day? 10 cups? A gallon? The good news is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That's why I start my day with Hydrant, because Hydrant helps you hydrate faster.
Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and effectively hydrate your body. It hydrates you quickly and keeps you going for longer. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes that your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc, and it packs a punch to help your body hydrate fast and stay hydrated. If you're looking for that extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. Hydrant is backed by research. The formula was developed by an Oxford scientist. It also is loved by pro athletes, top performers, celebrities, and has thousands of 5-star reviews.
It's made with real fruit juice powder. It's delicious and refreshing, and it comes in a variety of flavors, including iced tea, lemonade, and fruit punch. My favorite personally is the grapefruit. It's a classic and I go back to it. It's delicious. Plus, this stuff is backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love it, you can send it back for a full refund. You really need to try it for yourself to see what I'm talking about. It tastes incredible and it works.
Well, Hydrant starts at just $1 a packet for a 30-day supply, and you save even more with a monthly subscription. And it's so easy to get. We've got a special deal for our listeners to save 25% off your first order. We're not kidding here, folks. 25%. Go to drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter promo code SURVIVOR for 25% off your first order. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor. Enter promo code SURVIVOR to save 25%. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Now, oh my God, Magic Spoon was so kind to send me that's really cool bowl. It's like rubbery, like it's the coolest bowl of all time. And this like rainbowy spoon that is really awesome. And if you think about it, they're called Magic Spoon, so why shouldn't the spoon be like totally incredible? Well, here's how incredible all these things are put together. My daughter Piper, turning 13 this month, thinks that is the coolest spoon, the coolest bowl, and as a result, the coolest cereal of all time. I mean, we're talking about a kid that ate the worst cereal ever. And she's now all in on Magic Spoon. I've been on board, the whole time, but to have the rest of the family join in on with me, oh my God, we are a Magic Spoon family.
Man, growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, so I'm glad Piper's on board. But I've recently had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you just shouldn't eat. I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, unhealthy foods, and I realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. So I've changed up my breakfast routine, and I've added Magic Spoon, and it's a game changer, I gotta say.
So, well, with the new year, we're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has amazing flavors that you love, but without all the bad stuff.
Yeah, they have 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. So many of you have asked us, and now you can finally build your own custom variety box and not just go with a pre-scripted one. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry flavors, plus brand new flavors including peanut butter and cinnamon.
Hey, it tastes amazing. Honestly, too good to be true. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. My favorite, absolutely, positively, no contest, cinnamon.
Good choice. Go to magicspoon.com/survivor to build your own custom variety box and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR to get $5 off your order.
Yeah, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/survivor. Use promo code SURVIVOR, they love it when we do that, to save $5 off.
Boom, and we thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
And we're back. And not only are we back, we're back in the club. And I'm going to let Lauren talk about what was Big T at the club.
Big T, I can't even describe it because it was just pure delight. She literally had everyone coming up to her like she was the queen. And in this episode, she absolutely was the queen. She had people saying, oh, what can I do? What do you want from me? How do you want me to vote? And she'd be like, yes, darling, do this. And then you had people kissing her hand. It was fantastic. And honestly, only Big T could pull this off. Some other people might not like it as much if it was a different person, but because it was Big T, it's completely fine.
Yeah, Big T was retired for the night. That night and that night only, she was Queen T, and Queen T was feeling herself, and I was all for it. You gotta have strong women on this show, and she, I think, is the embodiment of it while being so positive. But on the opposite side of that, you got Anissa and Tori talking about we don't know where Big T's head's at, and then Tori's just constantly pushing, not just to Anissa, but and not only to Big T, but to Amber M. I want to go against a weak girl. I think you're weak. You're weak. That's my perception. You're weak. I'm like, oh my God, stop saying it.
She says it so many times, and I was super excited for Amber M. She actually was very funny this episode. She got so much more screen time, and I liked that she was talking with Tori. She wasn't going to back down because, honestly, you can't. I'm fine with you being honest to someone to their face about how you feel, but you're playing a game. And in a game, you have to say that in your confessional. Let the audience know how you think. Don't say it directly to the person that you want to go against or that you want out, unless there's a big rival against you and that person. But if you're going to say it about multiple people, you say it in a confessional so the viewers know what's happening. You cannot say to every single person, I think you're weak, you're weak, you're weak, I want to go against you. And then my favorite part of the entire situation was when Tori said, I want to go against a rookie. But wait, not Lolo. Anyone else but Lolo.
Yeah, and I sort of wrote there that Tori is too picky about who her opponent is, and we've talked about this on past episodes. I get it. You want to try to design your elimination to get the easiest chance for you to win, but it's not just rookies like Joseph Allen. I said I'd never say it again. Second week in a row, I'm mentioning it. He wanted to orchestrate his own elimination. They're like, you can go in, but we're not going to do what you want. Like, you need to have someone in the power position that is tight with you if you want to have that result to happen. And from her own words, Tori didn't know where Big T's head was at. So I didn't know what Tori's plan was. Like, her plan was obviously get Amber M into the elimination. But then what next? Like, there was no guarantee that Big T, once seeing Amber M as the house vote's going to go, you know what? I'll give it to you, Tori. Go for it. I'll give it to you, Anissa. Go for it. Here is my ally on a silver platter for you. And it's dinner time. Go eat, my children.
I will say, I think Tori is a very strong competitor. But if you think that you're the best of the best, you should be fine with going up against anyone, because here's the deal. You're going to have to go against everyone, eventually. Whether you make it to the final, those are your competitors, no matter who's there. So either you're taking them out in elimination, or you're going to have to go against the stronger people in the final. Because the thing is, if all the strong, what they consider themselves vets, go against who they consider the weaker rookies, then you're going up against so many strong people in a final. My thought process would be, if you think some of these people are weak, you would want to keep them around so they're in a final against you.
Yeah, exactly. But Tori has her own ideas, and here's to her for trying to very relentlessly put a circle through a square peg, or a circle into a square hole. It ain't gonna fit, girl, but I love the effort. So the only other thing we have a note here is, even though CT did say he wanted Big T to do all the politics, we do see him doing a little bit of politicking, because you know what? He does make a point of, yes, Big T can make these moves, but I also need to create some friends here so that, what if I give Lolo an opportunity? Like, I feel I have something from her for Chance for Stars. If I scratch her back, maybe she helps scratch mine down the road, or gives me some sort of protection, because it could be any second before they go, oh, let's get the winners out again. Because we got a pause from that. But you have to have it in the back of your mind.
We have gotten a pause from that. But also, as we noted, Ashley has also come back into the frame here. So you incorporate yet again another winner, and they transitioned away from that. But I do think it's eventually going to come back to that again, because they were so gung-ho about wanting the winners out right away. They're going to get rid of some of these people, and then people are going to start thinking in their mind, all right, I really don't want another winner to win. I want my shot. So let's figure out a way to get them out. But I do agree, CT's conversation with Lolo was a very good conversation to have, because CT knows that, yes, he has Big T as his partner who's very social. He needs to be social on his own as well, because he might not have Big T all the way through, and he needs to protect himself.
Yeah. And I think what he said with Lolo was fine. It wasn't a full force, I will put you in. It was, I'll let you feel it out, Lolo. If you see the elimination, you go, yeah, I think I can do this one. And and it's all set up for you. Yeah, I'll try to make sure you're the one who goes in, get your skull. Just think about it as he sips on his coffee, just think about it. Because I think say Lolo wanted to do the elimination tonight. Sure.
Yeah.
I could, yeah, but that would have meant we needed to make sure Tori was the vote. But in Big T's mind, as long as Anissa or Tori, they were split up, I think that was just her end goal, was split them up.
Yeah, I think she wanted one of them out and didn't really care necessarily which one went, but she wanted to split up a strong friendship, and that is who Anissa and Tori are. They're super close with each other, and they have a bond where they're not going to slit each other's throat or say each other's name. So we've been shown, because we saw that last episode where friends went against each other. So you never know in the heat of the moment. But I do think Anissa and Tori would have stayed in lockstep with each other throughout the season if they had the opportunity to do so.
Yep. And like I said, we'll get to what my thoughts are there going in there about Anissa. They're not bad. Just want to preface that. But we're now entering deliberation. And Ashley, we haven't had a lot of her. She's made some funny comments, but this is her first strategic DR or confessional that she's had. And it's her saying, I'm going to this deliberation and keeping my mouth fucking shut. I want no one to even remember that I am in the room, so that there's no chance anyone's going to put my name down.
Yes, that's exactly what you have to do. And that's something I've brought up with someone such as Josh. Eventually, you got to keep your mouth shut, let other people put bullseyes on their back, lay low. And I think that's a great strategy from Ashley. She was just there to chill. She was there to chill, see what other people had to say, and take in that information, because she was gone for a little while. So you don't necessarily know where people's heads are at in the house. So you have to be able to gather that information.
Yeah. And this deliberation was it was more interesting than some of the other ones so far. I'm not saying the other ones weren't interesting, but it was a different type of interesting, where you have Gabby sort of being the spokesperson for the rookie females and going, I think it was this very genuine, heartfelt thing where she's talking about, I get it, we're rookies, and sure, maybe we are some of the smaller ones, but having people classify us just based off impression or a look as weak is it's not okay. You never know what type of elimination or mission is going to take place, and maybe it's going to be something where we have strengths that you do not, and that gives us the advantage. I think she's very good at articulating what she wants to say. We haven't heard much from her, but from what we have, I really like what I'm hearing from Gabby. But we then get a stonewalled by Tori going, yeah, but you guys look weak, so I want to go against you guys.
Another shitty move on Tori's end. Here's the deal with all of this. If you're going to call people weak, you better be able to back your shit up if you go against someone that you consider quote unquote weak. Because if you lose to them and you talk so much shit, it's just not going to be a good look for you, and it's going to be very embarrassing. You have to respect all of your competitors.
Yep.
Because we've seen people win this challenge who people consider a potential layup and don't think that they're going to be able to be a strong competitor, and they go out and win.
Yeah, and just gonna throw this out there. You know who Tori called weak? The last couple seasons that they've been on the same show together. Anissa. Just saying. I'm just saying. It's as if I'm foreshadowing what's going to happen later. But
she has.
So what I liked the most about this deliberation actually was after Tori keeps talking, but sort of saying the same thing over and over again. Devin has a line in his confessional where people who have the most to say are the ones that are the most guilty. And I liked that line because it was true. Like, she feels pressured, sort of has her back against the wall. So she's really trying to forcibly shift the target because she thinks it's going to be her. And she's like, well, if I have the numbers of the people I think I do, I need to make sure it's on Amber M or have the weak person. So weak. And it's like, if you're going to keep saying that people are weak, maybe you should be looking in the mirror. I'm not saying Tori's weak, but based off the elimination, like I do have thoughts on her as a competitor. But any final thoughts in deliberation before we go to the vote?
Well, the thing is, if she wanted Amber M to be the house vote, why in the world would she think that Big T would be saying, here you go, Tori, I'll let you go in? It's ridiculous. She would have sent someone in if Amber M would have been the house vote. There's no way she's giving Tori what she wants.
And like, all credit to Amber M. I don't think Amber M's moving that crate at all. But, you know, I like to give people a fair chance. Like, I don't, if I'm in a fight or in a competition, I'm not looking at anyone else thinking what are their strengths and weaknesses. I'm thinking about me. I'm thinking about, I need to be, even if I think the other person is better than me or worse than me, I need to think I am the best person in this room right now. Doesn't matter what the competition is. I need to go in and give it your all. That's all you need to do. Give it your all, and sometimes you surprise yourself.
Right, and I get it. We don't have much to go off of on these rookie girls. We don't really know how they can compete. But as I said, respect your competitor because it might come back to bite you in the ass and you could get eliminated by one of them and just look real foolish.
Yeah. So we get to the vote. A lot of votes going around. I think as these rounds going on, there's a lot more people throwing personal votes at each other as burn votes. There's a lot of people throwing burn votes. But we ended up seeing there were 15 votes against Anissa and Leroy.
Yep, that's a good majority of the house too. Especially because we saw people throw, as you said, some burn votes and top off some votes on Fessy.
Yeah, and it was sort of interesting because I didn't get all the people, but I assume most of the rookies voted that way. You obviously had CT vote that way. You also saw Leroy and Cam on the list. And I guess there was some speculation that they put their votes there because there was a potential idea out there that Cam could have been a vote. So, they were trying to survive, it was interesting.
I also find it interesting when they go in and do their little deliberation where CT and Big T get to see who voted for who. I would find it real intriguing if they ever were able to see what people burned votes on or how people threw their other votes off.
Yeah, we need to have someone who actually gets into the I guess Casey's gone to deliberation after the fact. We need Casey to comment for Jonny and say what happens when you're in the deliberation room.
Yeah, because I really want to know, because that could be super valuable information, because you can obviously who voted for the people that are going in, but I would want to know where did these other votes go to, and you could still see whether people are lying to you or not.
Yeah. So we're going in here, and then we have you sort of get this cliffhanger getting into commercial of CT saying, well, it's really either going to be Lolo or Tori going in. And you have Anissa talking about, my worst nightmare is most likely going to come true, where me and Tori, who's my biggest rock here, are going to have to butt heads and take one another out.
Yeah, I mean, based on how the episode was shaking up, and once Tori saw Anissa get put in, she had to know.
Yeah, so we get to the crater. Anissa and Leroy are announced. They also see that only the 3 skulls of the men are there because Natalie was eliminated, so all 5 skulls are up for grabs again.
Which is a game changer, because we've had 2 girls DQ, and there's definitely more opportunities, especially because lots of guys' skulls are gone, and now there's 5 for the women. So it's very beneficial for all of them.
Yeah, more up for grabs, and not necessarily needing to have to go against someone who gets a skull right away. So
when do you think we're going to see that?
I think we will see it once we get maybe in a couple of rounds. Like once there's only like one skull left, or if you know you're going to go in or have a position where you're the double agent going in, you try to push for one of the weaker people with the skulls, especially if it's someone you're not aligned with. Send them down there and like, okay, I'm going to go with my best and try to take them out. But I don't think you do it for the first 3 skulls. You just get the opportunity for yourself. Don't really try to think too hard about it. Just get yourself the opportunity.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to do it with so many little skulls being taken so far. But the number I'm going to choose is that there's going to be 6 skulls taken up.
Okay. Interesting. So Big T does not want to go in. She wants her plan to come through, and she picks, NCT picks Tori to go down. So we are going to get Tori versus Anissa. And it's their worst nightmare. But Amber M just throwing shade against them. She's like, hey, time to prove yourself. So the challenge, I believe, was called Asset Destruction or Asset Distraction. I forget which. But essentially how it worked was there was a crate for each competitor. And on those crates were heavy bombs. And you had to pull the rope that was attached to the crate up until the point where it hits the end of the line. And you must tip over the crate and get all the balls knocked out. Once those bombs were out, you then threw it at this wall that had assets on them, and you must throw it through 13 assets to win.
Now, when the entire challenge was announced, who did you think was going to be the front runner in all of this? Because my money, just based on how it was described, was on Tori, because she talks about how much brute strength she has, how quick she is as a competitor, and I did think she would be much stronger at throwing the balls at the target.
See, I maybe it's because I was reading into the edit. I was going in thinking, well, typically Anissa wins her first elimination in a season that she's in, and there was balls in it. Just like the first elimination she did until Madness, or as she called it, it's like everyone's favorite porno. I know Johnny's going to use a lot on that one, or I sure hope he does. I hope they're using Blue Chew, promo code Survivor, and so I was thinking Anissa. Plus, with how the episode was lining up, you just saw this episode was about the downfall of Tori, not about the downfall of Anissa.
Yeah, absolutely about the downfall of Tori, but I get it. You read into the edit a little bit. I try not to, because we have been shocked by things that have happened so far this season, even though the edit may or may not describe it that way. So I try my best not to pay attention to it. But yes, I could see the way it was going, how Tori was just basically destroying her own game. And Anissa wasn't necessarily destroying her own game. She just was associated with Tori.
Exactly. The only thing that was her downside was she was going against her friend of the season. So they're going against each other. We get some comments from the peanut gallery. Fessy wants Tori to win because he has an erection for her. He feels they vibe. They're on the same wavelength. They know what each other are thinking. Where you could easily tell through his very his mind that I want Tori back because she's fun to look at.
Unbelievable. Obviously, we have no idea when Fessy said that, but they put it in at the right time because that's what production does.
Yep. Then we had Cam actually saying, who I thought would, it makes sense based off the first episode of the season, but I know she and Tori are tight, but Cam's like, I want Anissa to win. Tori's going to be better at a final than Anissa, so bye, Tori.
But that's what I said earlier on as we were talking on the podcast, you want, as you think, if someone's weaker than you, you want to see them in the final because that gives you a better chance of beating them. And I just think Tori failed to see that.
Yep. So the challenge begins. Nisa chugged through that crate and gets that crate going. Tori's struggling, and she's struggling big time. Like, she's able to get it to the point where it's supposed to tip. From there, though, she wasn't getting the proper leverage to tilt it over, which I was actually surprised by because she looks like someone who has pretty decent leg strength. So I would have thought she would have been able to get herself in like a squat or like a good lunging position to be able to maneuver and pull it over. But she's not doing it, which gives Anissa, thankfully for Anissa, a lot of time to try to get all those bombs through the ad sets, the bombs that looked like soccer balls. I want to know how heavy those were because they must have been heavier than they looked. Because to me, a lot of them just looked like inflatable balls. So I
think they were definitely heavier than they looked because we saw throughout the progression of that elimination, Anissa was getting more and more tired. And once we finally see Tori actually get the crate fully pulled over, she started to catch up, and she was catching up very quickly. Had Tori gotten hers done faster, she would have smoked it. She would have been able to throw those balls. They would have gone through, and she would have been coming out of that elimination as a winner. Whereas Anissa, she got that first portion done quicker, gave herself plenty of time to be able to shoot those balls, and she won at the end of the day. And I was happy for Anissa.
Yeah, I'm happy for her. It goes with her arc of trying to continually prove herself. Like, I will say, and I hate talking like this because it comes off a type of way. It sort of does a disservice to her as well, though, because it continues to show people that, Anissa gasses out. Like, yes, she won, but she was very gassed out. How am I, if we're forced to work together in a final, how am I supposed to rely on her to stamina wise? And you could see it on her that she was like, she won, but those last few that she needed to get done, she barely had any energy left.
She barely had any energy, and we don't know how long that lasted for.
Exactly.
But obviously we know finals are grueling. There's sometimes 2-3 days at a time, and you have to be in the best shape possible for those. I will say, though, Anissa does have some really great qualities about her where she can be a strong partner for someone to have. And I think she does get underestimated sometimes.
So this is where I want to talk about Anissa. So while the stamina portion is not her strong suit, what I find fascinating about her is her ability. She comes into every single different season. She's able to come into the season and have some different person every single time. This is the closest person I've ever been with in the challenge ever. We're just so tight. We mesh. Like, she has that person every season. It's almost never the same person. Like, she has to have a great, not just social game in the game, but outside of the game, where she's able to, because she has this background that allows her to relate in some way or another with almost anyone that they can put on the show, which I just find, from a game standpoint, if she's doing it as a way to manipulate, I don't think she is, but if she's doing that, like, bravo to her, because that's just like master level of being able to use your own personal history and go, I have this seed with you. Let me grow it. Let me grow it so that on a future season, I can be like, we're tight. Why go against each other? We're tight.
Well, we see that so many times because, as you stated, people have relationships outside of the show, and sometimes they leave as friends, and outside of the show, they're not friends anymore. But what Anissa, as you said, does so well, she creates bonds with people, and people gravitate towards her. She's obviously doing something right because she does come across extremely likable, and she's able to get people on her side, which is beneficial for her in challenge seasons. Yep. So you have to understand everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, but you have to figure out how to utilize your partner's strengths in order to outweigh their weaknesses. And you have to be able to come together as a unit and work with each other, because you're not going to get the archetype that you want in a partner all the time. So you have to figure out different strategies in order to make it work. If you're unable to do so, then you might as well stop then, because as we see with Big T and CT, they're figuring out with each other. Does CT think Big T is the strongest competitor? Absolutely not. But he's figuring out what her strengths are and how he can utilize that for his game.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. And like just outside looking in, I think a weakness in Tori's game in terms of the eliminations is I think she gets too much into her own head. And there's this thing where if you're very much internally thinking while you're doing competitions like that and you start to struggle, that internalization can eat away at you where it's self-defeating. So you can't do it and you're thinking too much of, oh, I can't do it, instead of thinking about what do I need to do it, because you saw her freaking out and going, I can't do it. It's not working. It's broken or whatever. Like she was already sort of trying to make the excuses as to why she's not able to do it. And then she finally gets it done. You know, I think if she wants to improve, she needs to figure out how to continually be in her zen and being able to get through these eliminations without getting frazzled.
Right. No, for sure. And obviously it's the end of the line for Tori. Sure, we're going to see her in a future season. She seems to pop up very recently in many of them. But we get to the point where Aneesa gets to make a decision. And I got to tell you, watching this, I was dying inside because I'm thinking, is she really going to take him back? Is she going to do it? And Aneesa takes Fessy back. I loved every second of it because Fessy said, eventually I'm going to be taken. Well, guess what, Fessy? You were taken, but you were stolen back by your original partner. You were dying. I was living for it. Dying, laughing inside. I know. Yes, I know.
I was living for the moment because once they said, Nisa, you get to choose anyone you want. I'm like, you take him back. You force him to work with you. Because guess what? If he wants to get away from you, he needs to put himself back in and potentially lose an elimination just to get away from you. Because I don't think a lot of these girls anymore are going to go, oh, I want to have Fessy as a partner. Like one of his best allies in Casey goes, once she gets paired back up with Leroy, goes, oh, Leroy, come back to me. Leroy's like, come back to me, Casey. Like she's like, Fessy did horrible in the last mission. I don't want him anymore. Come back to me, Leroy.
I love it. I think that they're going to be stuck with each other, and I'm totally here for it because karma sucks sometimes. Fessy tried to pull a fast one, and it came back to bite him in the ass. And listen, as I said before, figure out your strengths and weaknesses with your partner and work it out because you're probably stuck with each other because, as you said, no one's going to be taking Fessy unless it's maybe one of the last skulls and it's getting very close to the final. But I don't think he's going to be up for grabs pretty recent. Like no one's going for him until it might come down where it's closer to the final. But in the middle of the season, he's going to be with Aneesa.
Yeah, exactly. And I was sort of interested with Casey taking back Leroy. I guess she only had the options of Leroy or Devin, and she couldn't take someone else because we also had that weird thing where they were both like, we're not going to tell each other everything. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. But maybe she's just thinking, you know, if it was just between those two, she's like, Devin still has drama about him. If I'm attached with Leroy's no drama. He's chill. I'm chill. We do decent in the missions. Let's just go for that. Which allows Devin to become a rogue agent, which is the best position for him to be in because next week will be a guy's elimination. And you can't put him in. You can't choose him at all. He's safe for that round. So he gets to hold on to that skull for a little while longer.
He got exactly what he wanted. Devin's happy at the end of the day. And basically, that's about all I have for this episode. It was another great one. I'm here for it. The challenge is delivering this season, and it is definitely riveting television, and I'm just so excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
I agree 100%. So with that, Lauren, maybe you want to tell us what's happening later tonight?
Yeah, so thanks so much for joining Alex and myself on Reality NSFW. But at 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight, Jonny, Zack, Marie Roda will be joined by the Ashley Mitchell. So be sure to tune into that. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. You know, Ashley never holds back, and seeing Ashley and Marie together is going to be fantastic. So tune into that podcast tonight.
Yeah, if you like what we did tonight, click the subscribe button so that you can, and click that bell for notifications so that you can be up to date with everything that's going on with Reality NSFW. And also click the like for this video to know that you enjoyed what you just watched. If you want more content, become a patron at Reality NSFW, where Jonny, Matt, and Zack and Karen are talking about Australian Survivor for the patrons, as well as a patron exclusive Q&A where you get to ask anything you want. And it's a really fun time. Join the community. It's a bunch of great people who all have that similarity of loving reality television.
Now that the holidays are over, it's all too common to set health goals that never actually stick. New Year's resolutions of the past, we're looking at you. And when it comes to eating better and consuming less sugar, let's be honest, most healthy snacks don't taste very good. They don't fill you up, and they certainly don't satisfy your cravings. This episode is sponsored by Monk Pack, who makes snacks that taste like our favorite sugary treats, but with less than 1 gram of sugar.
Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars contain less than 1 gram of sugar, 2 to 3 grams of net carbs, and they're only 150 calories.
They're great for anyone following a keto lifestyle and the perfect snack for anyone who is trying to eat better or cut back on sugar and carbs without sacrificing taste.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm personally not a keto eater, but I love these nut and seed bars. I try to have one of these always on me for a snack because I'm usually trying to train for a new running distance I'm trying to hit. I think 2021 is going to be the year for my first full marathon, and I think Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars are going to help me get there because they're giving me the energy I need and the nutrition I need to make those health goals possible.
Wow. Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars have the perfect balance of sweet and salty, a crunch from whole nuts and seeds, but still manage to be soft and chewy. How do they do it? They come in delicious flavors like sea salt dark chocolate, pecan almond, and my favorite, no contest, love these so much, game changers if you will, the peanut butter dark chocolate.
So good. They're perfect for a quick snack to satisfy your sweet tooth without any guilt. Enjoy Monk Pack Keto Nut and Seed Bars as a quick breakfast, while running errands, or after a workout.
In addition to being keto friendly, these bars are gluten-free, plant-based, and non-GMO. So with no soy, trans fat, sugar alcohols, or artificial flavors.
They really taste incredible, and you can't beat the low sugar nutrition or taste they provide. And by shopping online, you can avoid another trip to the grocery store by getting Monk Pack delivered right to your door.
Try it for yourself and see. And we have a special deal for our listeners. Get 20% off your first purchase of any Monk Pack product by visiting monkpack.com and entering promo code SURVIVOR at checkout.
And Monk Pack is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll exchange the product or refund your money, whichever you prefer.
So to get started, just go to monkpack.com, that's monkpack.com, and select any product, and then use promo code SURVIVOR, they love it when we do that, at checkout to save 20% off your purchase.
Monk Pack, delicious, nutritious foods you can count on, and we thank them for sponsoring the Reality NSFW podcast.
Any fool can climb a wall or crawl through sand, but as every fan knows, Survivor challenges are won or lost at the puzzle. The most successful players are puzzle masters, and you can be one too. Fairplay, Perplexers Puzzles creates handmade miniature replicas of many of Survivor's greatest and most challenging puzzles. Find out if you have what it takes by visiting the Perplexers Puzzle store on Etsy or simply visiting survivorpuzzle.com. Enter promo code FAIRPLAY, FAIRPLAY, at checkout for a 10% discount. And let me tell you, I'm hanging out on my patio on these beautiful summer nights. I have Zack Hacker coming over to my house, and we did the fire puzzle, the season 40 puzzle. I got the tree puzzle, and Zack was like, dude, these things are fucking awesome. So if you are a fan of Survivor, as Zack is, and I know he has a true, authentic Survivor puzzle that I have personally done, these Perplexers puzzles are the real deal. So go to survivorpuzzle.com right now, enter promo code Fairplay at checkout for a 10% discount, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed.